Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel where I've taken a extended hiatus from YouTube for the last several months, and welcome to just outside of beautiful Silverton, Colorado here in the San Juan Mountains, the winter solstice and the shortest day of the year. Thought I would drive up here and about an hour north from where I live in Durango, Colorado now. Just moved out here a little under 2 months ago. And yeah, I thought I would come out here and go on a little hike slash snowshoe trip up here in the mountains near Silverton. I'm going to talk a little about hiking and photography and winter activities and such. Some of the gear that I use I'll probably talk about a bit later. And yeah, share some photos with you guys along the way. Hopefully I'll get some good ones to share. It is an absolutely gorgeous late December day, winter solstice day. It's a bright, sunny, bluebird day. It's probably almost 40 degrees out, which is pretty warm. We have not got any decent snow in probably about 4 weeks, but there's still enough snow on the ground up at this high elevation above 9,000 feet to where I can probably get out and break the snowshoes out and get out on a little adventure. So let's get into it. There's something special about spending time in the mountains during winter. The overall calm and natural quiet found here invites introspection. The solitude is something you'll remember and seek out again and again. If you learn to respect and appreciate it, winter in the mountains is like no other time of the year. It takes effort, but the effort is well worth it. That's what keeps me coming back. Alright, so I've been hiking up for a little ways here. I'm actually starting to get really hot, like starting to sweat. It's deceiving how warm it gets up here in the high mountains with the sun fully out like this. So I'm going to take off this outer layer here. So probably pop my gloves because my hands are getting pretty warm as well. Generally, one of the things I have to watch out for is that my extremities, my fingers and toes, get cold very easily. But even on a day like today, my hands were like starting to sweat. So take gloves off, but generally I will wear a pair of gloves. These aren't even winter gloves. These are a kind of a lighter weight glove, cold weather glove. So that kind of shows you how warm it is today. But ordinarily on the outside I will wear a shell like this. This is a water resistant shell. This is a Fjällräven Skasgo jacket, I believe it's called. So I'll wear that on the outside, which I'm going to take off because it is too warm for this many layers. And then underneath this shell, I'll pretty much always wear a down jacket. This is the particular down jacket that I wear, but again, with any of these brands, you can wear any brand you really want to. This is what I have. This is the Cotopaxi Fuego down hooded jacket. It has the hood as well. I've been wearing this jacket for a couple of years now. It's actually really great, pretty warm. And then underneath this down layer, I'm wearing kind of a lightweight fleece. And particularly this, again, you can wear any company fleece, brand fleece you want to, but this is a Fjällräven, I forget what model this is, but it's pretty lightweight fleece, so it's a good mid layer. And then underneath this fleece, I am wearing a synthetic base layer, which is the REI branded mid-weight base layer, which I like to wear as my base layer. So that's kind of my general layering system that I'll use in the winter time. Of course, I'll wear a beanie as well. This is a Fjällräven beanie that I've had for a couple years, which I really like. It's very comfortable, warm. Probably the best beanie I've ever owned, honestly. And then my pants, I will normally wear a water-resistant pair of pants. These are also the Fjällräven Vita Pro Ventilated, which is a thicker, heavier, like kind of padded pant, but it's not insulated. But it works really well for winter hiking and snowshoeing and such like that. Normally, if it's colder out, I would wear a base layer on my legs underneath my pants, either like a merino or a synthetic one like this REI one I'm wearing underneath here on my top. But it's so warm today that I'm not actually wearing any base layers underneath my pants because these are kind of thick enough that I'm comfortable with that. And then as far as your feet, I mean, I wear a nice merino wool sock, got some waterproof gaiters on here, and then I'm wearing some Salomon X Ultra for Gore-Tex mids is the shoe I'm wearing. But again, you can kind of wear any boot you'd like to as long as it's probably waterproof. I think that's the best thing. If it's really cold out, maybe you want a insulated boot as well. But that's kind of it for the gear that I'm wearing, kind of what I found that works for me. But really, I think layering is the most important thing, because today when I started this hike, it was a bit cooler out because it was the morning, so I started with more layers on. And then as you hike, if you start in the morning, not only is it going to get warmer throughout the day, which it has since I started about an hour ago, but then also as you hike, your body's going to warm up and you're going to start to sweat, which you don't want to sweat because then you're going to be colder in theory. I might even just go with this fleece because it is actually very warm out right now. But yeah, let's continue the hike up into the mountains there behind me. So far hiking up, I have been wearing micro spikes on my shoes here just to help with grip. It's been mostly packed snow and ice so far coming up, but now as we get higher in elevation here, which I expected, the snow is starting to get a little bit deeper, so I have been carrying my snowshoes on my backpack this whole hike up, so I'm going to switch over to snowshoes. These are the MSR Evo Trail snowshoes, which I bought last winter, so I've been using them for almost a year now. Let's strap these on and we're going to continue our hike up, hopefully up to this pass over here. And yeah, I got a few hours of daylight left, so we'll see how far I get today. Sun has dropped behind the mountain here, so I'm going to definitely put another layer back on. It's getting cool. And you know, speaking of hiking and snowshoeing and outdoor activities in the mountains in the winter, is that the weather conditions are very variable and you should expect them to change pretty rapidly, which they already do that the rest of the year, but it can go from being pretty bright and sunny to like in an hour the sun's going down and the temperature drops like 10 degrees and the wind picks up and it could just start snowing, you know. I mean, luckily today I don't have to worry about snow because it's just crystal clear blue skies, but something you gotta be aware of. Wintertime is just a lot more difficult to deal with the variable weather conditions, variable snow conditions. I mean, I don't have to worry about it right now because we haven't gotten snow in like 4 weeks and everything's very compacted, but like avalanche danger could come to play as well at some point also. So something to keep in mind. It takes way longer to go distances than, you know, in the summertime where there's no snow, where I could easily go hike 10 miles in a day or more. The winter I'm only going to probably end up doing 3 or 4 miles today because it's just way slower and it's way more tiring with all the gear on, snowshoes on, the snow kind of like sinking into the snow and ice and slipping and stuff. It just, you know, it's kind of challenging. Back at a spot where you guys can probably actually hear me. I'm out of the wind. I will say I used to be a lot more intimidated by getting out in the wintertime in the mountains. The first 3 years I lived up in Colorado near Vail, I pretty much in the wintertime barely got out at all. First of all, I did not have the gear that I needed that I've kind of gone over in this video, but also just wasn't comfortable with it, and I didn't really know where to start with it. But I will say that now I've started getting out in the mountains a bit more in the winter. It's just like opened up my photography opportunities more. My portfolio of images is definitely very lacking when it comes to winter images in general, but especially the mountains, because I would get out every other time of the year except for the winter time. So I wasn't taking photos in the winter time.